Most people who say they are bad with money have never actually been shown how to manage it. That is not a personal failing, it is just a missing skill, and skills can be learned. Here is what the research actually shows. People who follow a written budget, even a simple one, save significantly more each month than those who do not because they earn more, but because they can see where their money is going. So here's the first real piece of your budget right now. Your monthly budget starts with one number, your total take-home income, not your salary before taxes, the actual amount that lands in your account each month. That number is your foundation. Everything else gets built on top of it. Once you have that number, you can divide it into 3 categories using a method called 50-30-20. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt. That structure alone is enough to give most beginners a working budget in under an hour. What we will cover next is exactly how to fill in each of those 3 buckets, starting with the expenses most people forget to count, which is usually where the whole budget falls apart. A budget is simply a plan for your money, written down before you spend it. That is the whole idea. You decide in advance where each dollar goes instead of wondering where it went afterward. Here's how it works in practice. You start with your total monthly income, the actual amount that lands in your bank account after taxes. Then you list every expense you have grouped into 3 buckets: needs, wants, and savings. Needs are things like rent, groceries, and utilities. Wants are dining out, subscriptions, and anything optional. Savings covers your emergency fund, retirement contributions, or any debt you're paying down faster than required. Once everything is listed, you check whether your income covers your expenses. If it does, you have a working budget. If it does not, you now know exactly which category to adjust, and that clarity is the real power here. The most beginner-friendly way to divide those 3 buckets is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your take-home pay goes to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings. It is a starting point, not a rigid law, but it gives your first budget a concrete structure to build from, without requiring a finance degree or a complicated spreadsheet. Here is why a simple framework like 50-30-20 actually sticks when random willpower does not. Psychologists call it mental accounting. Your brain does not treat all money as one big pool. It naturally sorts money into separate mental buckets, and once money feels assigned to a purpose, spending it on something else feels like a real loss. That friction is useful. It slows you down just enough to make a better choice. Budgeting works with that instinct instead of fighting it. When you label a category, needs, wants, or savings, you are not just organizing numbers, you are giving your brain a rule it can actually use in the moment. No complex math required, just a quick check against the bucket. There's also something called present bias at play. Without a plan, the version of you standing at checkout almost always wins over the version of you thinking about next month. A written budget shifts that balance. It makes the future feel more concrete and more real, which makes it easier to act on. None of this requires discipline you were not born with. It just requires a system that matches how your brain already works. That is exactly what you are building right now. Now that you know why budgeting matters, let's actually build one together. Right now, in this scene, you're going to complete the first 2 steps of your very first monthly budget. Step 1 is figuring out your income. Grab your last 2 pay stubs or check your bank app for the past month. Add up everything that came in, your paycheck, any side work, any regular transfers. That total is your monthly take-home income. Write it down or type it somewhere you can see it. Step 2 is listing your fixed expenses. These are bills that stay the same every month. Things like rent, a car payment, phone bill, or any subscriptions you pay on a set schedule. Go through your bank statements and find every charge that repeats at roughly the same amount. List each one and its cost, then add them up. That one number, your fixed expenses total, gets subtracted from your income right away. What remains is what you actually have to work with for everything else in your life. Most people have never stopped to calculate that before, and seeing it clearly changes how you think about every purchase you make. Now here's the rule that holds all of this together. Every dollar you earn needs a job before the month begins. That is it. Not a complicated formula, not a finance degree, just a simple decision made in advance about where your money goes. When you skip this step, spending decisions happen by default instead of by design. You reach the end of the month. The account is lower than expected, and there is no clear reason why. Assigning every dollar a purpose puts you back in the driver's seat. Some dollars go to rent, some go to groceries, some go to savings. And yes, some go to things you enjoy. The budget does not punish you for that. It just makes the choice intentional. This is where a method like 50-30-20 becomes genuinely useful. It gives your dollars a starting destination. 50% toward needs, 30 toward wants, 20 toward savings and debt. You are not locked into those exact numbers, but having a default split means you're not starting from zero every time. The goal right now is not perfection. It is a first draft, something real you can look at, adjust, and actually use. That first draft is what the next part of this video will help you build. Let's look at two people who both earn $3,000 a month. Meet Priya and Marcus. Priya tracks her income, labels her expenses, and follows the 50-30-20 split. She puts $1,500 toward needs, $900 toward wants, and $600 straight into savings. After 12 months, she has over $7,000 set aside. Marcus earns the same amount but skips the framework. He pays his bills when they come in and spends the rest as the month goes. He means to save, but most months there is nothing left. After 12 months, he has less than $400 saved. Same income, very different results. Now this is an illustrative example, not a real study, but the math behind it is straightforward. When you decide in advance where your money goes, you stop losing it to friction, small purchases, and forgotten subscriptions. Priya did not earn more. She just gave every dollar a job before the month started. That is exactly the kind of system you are building right now. You have already covered how to find your take-home income and sort your spending into categories. The 50-30-20 method Priya used is simple enough to set up today, and in the next section you will see exactly how to apply it to your own numbers. Now that you have a framework, let us talk about three things that quietly derail most first-time budgets. The first is underestimating irregular expenses. Things like car repairs, birthday gifts, or a doctor visit do not show up every month, but they will show up. If you leave them out of your budget, you will blow past it and wonder what went wrong. Set aside a small fixed amount each month for these, even $10 or $20, so they stop feeling like emergencies. The second is rounding your income up and your expenses down. It feels optimistic in the moment, but you end up with a budget that only works on paper. Use your actual take-home numbers, not your best-case estimates. The third is abandoning the budget after one bad month. A month where you overspend is not a sign the system is broken. It is just data. Look at where the gap happened, adjust one category, and keep going. The goal is not a perfect budget, it is a consistent one. These three patterns show up constantly, but now that you can name them, you can catch them early. Your first budget does not need to be flawless. It just needs to be honest and repeatable. And you already have everything you need to build one. Now, one question comes up a lot with the 50-30-20 method. What if my income is too low for it to work? Here is the honest answer. If most of your money goes to needs, the 50% ceiling will feel impossible right away. Rent, groceries, and utilities alone can eat 70 or 80% of a tight paycheck, and that is completely real. But here's what actually helps. The method is a starting point, not a law. If your needs take 70% right now, write that down. That number is your baseline. From there, you can see exactly where the pressure is. Whether that is housing costs, a car payment, or something else. And you can make a specific plan to bring it down over time, even slowly. A lot of people on tight budgets find that just seeing the categories clearly for the first time helps them find $20 or $30 they did not know they had. Not because they were careless, because nothing was ever written down before. So the method still works on a low income. It just works differently. Instead of splitting money three ways from the start, you use the framework to understand where you actually stand. And then you adjust the percentages to fit your real life, not the other way around. That is what building your first budget actually means. And that is your first monthly budget, built from scratch in one sitting. You now know how to find your real take-home number, sort your spending into categories, and apply the 50-30 wedge we will to give every dollar a job before the month begins. This video is part of a larger series here on Financial Smarts. Next, we go deeper into tracking your spending week by week so your budget stays accurate, not just well-intentioned. After that, we cover what to do when the numbers do not add up on the first try, because they rarely do, and that is completely normal. Your one action for this week: open a notes app or grab a piece of paper and write down your actual take-home pay from last month. Then list your three biggest spending categories. Just those three. That small step puts you ahead of where most people ever get. Budgeting is a skill, and like any skill, it gets easier every time you do it. You have already done the hardest part, which is starting. If you want the rest of the series as it comes out, hit subscribe so it lands right in your feed. The next video drops soon, and you will want to see it before your next pay period rolls around.